Israel's Prime Minister urged the international community to place what he called a clear red line on Iran's controversial nuclear program at the United Nations General Assembly Thursday. Meanwhile, Palestinian leader Mahmoud Abbas blasted Israel for its illegal settlement activity. VOA's Margaret Besheer has more.
I request the protocol.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said the international community's decade of negotiations with Iran over its nuclear program and the imposition of sanctions have not stopped Tehran from advancing its nuclear technology, which he says directly threatens Israel.
There's only one way to peacefully prevent Iran from getting atomic bombs, and that's by placing a clear red line on Iran's nuclear weapons program. Red lines don't lead to war. Red lines prevent war.
Mr. Netanyahu used a cartoon-like drawing of a bomb to explain that a red line must be drawn at Iran's ability to enrich uranium, which he said is already beyond the 70% level.
And by next spring, at most by next summer, at current enrichment rates, they will have finished the medium enrichment and move on to the final stage. From there, it's only a few months, possibly a few weeks, before they get enough enriched uranium for the first bomb.
His ultimatum comes 2 days after U.S. President Barack Obama disappointed some Israelis by not giving Iran an ultimatum in his UN address, although he did warn that time for diplomacy is not unlimited. Meanwhile, Mr. Netanyahu barely addressed the Palestinian issue, except to say that more negotiations are needed. But Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas, speaking through an interpreter, accused Israel of allowing settlers to carry out what he called a campaign of ethnic cleansing against his people.
There is no homeland for us except Palestine, and there is no land for us but Palestine.
He said he is consulting with other UN member states about seeking an upgrade in Palestinian status in the General Assembly within a year.
We are confident that the vast majority of the countries of the world support our endeavor aimed at salvaging the chances for a just peace.
Last year, the Palestinians abandoned efforts to get full UN membership after their application stalled in the UN Security Council Membership Committee.
Now, Sudan and South Sudan reached a landmark border security and oil production deal on Thursday that will restart the flow of oil exports. Joining us now live from the UN with more on the situation is Margaret Besheer. Hello, Margaret.
Hi, Vincent.
Now, this was, you can say, impeccable timing. They come to the UN, and at the same time in Addis Ababa, it looked like there was some deal reached there. What did they say about that?
Yeah, it was very welcome news here yesterday afternoon. There was a meeting about the Sudans, about the outstanding issues, and the Secretary General welcomed this agreement in Addis about the two Sudans. They agreed, among other things, that on oil issues, and so this will enable South Sudan now to restart oil production, which you may remember they shut down several months ago in a dispute with Khartoum over transit fees. So that was one of the main things that came out of it. But they did not reach an agreement on Abyei, and the Secretary General said that was very regrettable, and he urged both sides not to take any unilateral decisions that might risk a return to violence between them.
Did they in any way spell out what needs to be done in the coming days and months in order to resolve those issues that are remaining?
No, that didn't come from the UN meeting. I think that's more in Addis with the African Union High-Level Implementation Panel, since they're overseeing the mediation. But definitely there was international support and endorsement for the accomplishments that were made this week in Addis. As you may recall, the Security Council had imposed a September 22nd deadline on President Besheer and President Kiir to resolve the outstanding issues or face sanctions. And so that deadline was sort of informally extended since the two leaders were meeting continually this past week in Addis. So I think they've escaped sanctions. We'll see.
Yeah, I suppose there was also some kind of mutual blame game there. Did it come out at the UN meeting?
The South Sudan's vice president made his UN General Assembly speech yesterday, and during his speech, he did blame the North, or Khartoum, for the fact that they could not agree on Abyei. He said that Khartoum, President Besheer specifically, had rejected the African Union High-Level Implementation Panel's proposal regarding Abyei. So he put the blame on Khartoum. Sudan will speak in the UNGA on Saturday, so perhaps we'll hear more from them then.
Okay, thank you very much, Margaret. That's Margaret Besheer, Voice of America's UN correspondent, speaking with us from New York.